Tragedy in the Western Cape. The body of a fourth child who drowned underneath the N2 highway bridge in Nyanga has been found. He's one of the boys who fell into a hole while playing in the area near Borcherds Quarry Road. Well, our reporter Nobesuthu Hejana is at the scene there. Let's find out what's happening there at the moment. Nobesuthu, a very good morning to you, and it's such a heartbreaking story. And just give us an idea of what's happening there at the moment. We understand the last body retrieved in the early hours of this morning.
Certainly, now, Yveka, according to the City of Cape Town's Fire and Rescue Services, they say at around 3:10 on Monday afternoon, a call was made after 4 boys had sunk in this hole. They're saying that after the firefighters came into this area, they did call other emergency services to come and assist to find those 4 boys, and a discovery of 2 boys was made just after 6 in the evening on Monday, and then after 9 a third body was found in this sinkhole, and the last body was discovered in the early hours of Tuesday. We are now going to find the families of the boys and just to get an idea and a sense of how they're feeling at this particular time. But at this stage we are still here at the scene just to find or see how things unfolded here. We'll also be speaking to some community leaders about their concerns over this particular site. We've heard earlier that they do have concerns over people who dug up sand in order to build or lay foundation into their homes.
All right, Nobesuthu, just give us some idea of what that area is like. We understand that this is a playground next to an informal settlement where kids usually play. We understand it's a recreational area, but we also understand that there are some pillars, from what I've been hearing or reading, that have collapsed under that bridge. So one would imagine that this was a problem, that hole just didn't appear overnight. And, you know, lots of questions now will emerge as to the safety of the area where children are just left to play.
Well, this is an open field just under or right after the N2 highway road, but just across the road there are informal settlements, and this particular site is known as Europe, and not too far from it there's another informal settlement called Barcelona. But when we were talking to one of the community members who was here this morning, he did say that this particular side of the road, they do have holes, but it did appear that when the kids were playing here, there was a tiny hole that they may have fell into, and that is when the incident took place. But in a few minutes we will be heading to one of the family members to speak to them and just to find out about what really happened yesterday.
Now, from what we see there and just what your cameraman has shown us, we can see obviously that hole has had to be widened to get to the bodies of these little boys. In terms of the drowning, where did the water come from? What actually runs under that bridge?
Well, we don't see any water underlying in this particular area. It does look like it's dry sand, but it does get wet from time to time, and it does appear to be a bit light. When I try to remove some of the sand, it easily falls into the ground. So it does, it would appear that by the time those kids were playing here, it was easy for it to sink down as it appears now. But we will be trying to get more information from the rescue or the construction guys who are here just to tell us about the texture of this particular soil.
All right, and I would imagine that they're not allowing anybody anywhere near that scene. Kids not allowed to play there. Have they cordoned off the entire sort of recreational area there, or just the part where these boys drowned?
Well, only this particular hole that has been cordoned off, but the entire road has been open. But we understand earlier, in the early hours of this morning, the N2 was closed due to the search by the emergency services personnel. But I think more people will not be allowed here because it is still a crime scene, and we do see one of the construction guys who is here on the scene, and just to make sure that people don't really get close to where we are. But they did just grant us this moment because we are broadcasting this story.
Nobesuthu, what do we know, if anything, about these little boys? We understand it is still, yes, quite soon after the tragedy, but what have you been hearing? Do we know anything about their ages? Were they related? Anything? And also, are people saying that this was purely accidental? Is there talk of foul play, perhaps? What are we hearing around this incident and this tragedy?
It does appear that it was just foul. I mean, it was an accident. But when we were trying to get the contact details of the family, I was speaking to one resident, and they were saying that the youngest of these boys was 6 years old, and they think the oldest was 13 years old. But we will get more clarity from their families, so to understand how young they were and maybe if they were related or not. But at this particular time, it hasn't been confirmed whether they are from one family.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks very much, Nobesuthu Hejana. Heartbreaking story there, and we'll hear more possibly from the families and get more clarity on what exactly happened there.